Space Tales, I guess, working title.
Working.
And this is just to be a quick glossing over what the roles would be like and a little introduction to the roles of each character. This game would be 1 to 5 players. Basically, if you had less players, certain roles you would take over 2 type of characters, and it could honestly be played by 1 character or 1 person just fine. Every character would have their own starting areas. Captain would be in the command center, also the security officer. Medic and medic assistant would be in the medical bay. Mechanic and all of his fellow mechanics would be scattered around different areas because they need to be everywhere, and there's a lot of them because that would be the most stressful role to play. The engineer would have 3 little assistants that would be taken over during times of combat. Same thing with the mechanics, would be taken over at times of combat by security officer, but if they die off, you would also lose power to power other bays of the ship. So each one of these characters have the same style of movement, where they would have a base move, and then you roll a dice to see how far they can move. So each character would have a base movement plus a die roll. So if you rolled a 6 and you had a base movement of 2, you can move 8 spaces. So this character could go 1, 2 through the door, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and get to this wall. Each wall would be over 2 squares, and then he would be able to attempt to repair this wall and try to save that portion of the ship. This is a very important aspect, because if this blew up, any character inside this area would fly out, instantly die, and anything still sealed off would be fine. But obviously you would lose access, quicker access to different areas, so you don't want that to happen. So this is a game about risk management. There are 80 cards in the deck of possible things that could happen, and there's an amount of each type of card, so you can get the percentages off really easy of what possibly could show up every turn. The only things that are certain is that there would be an invasion of enemy actually stepping foot on your ship every few turns, somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on how this game works for balancing. It would be, if it's extremely hard, then 3, and if it's a little too easy, we'll bump it up to 5. And also this allows every character's role to be fully utilized. The captain is obviously the person that likes to kind of try to take over and coordinate everything best for the group, and kind of tries to take over the game, but is very limited to his choices, because it is possible to kill the captain, in which case, or if he just dies by natural causes, the security officer would take over, and each character would have ranked which positions they would take over, and they would inherit any other character's assistants and use them how they see fit. A medic role would just be to heal people, but you have a certain inventory that you can carry, so you have to really coordinate to try to get back to the medical bay and kind of meet each other halfway, or else you won't be able to get as much heal out there as possible. Engineer's sole purpose is to distribute power to different bays to either prevent certain cards from having effect, or to prevent an instant loss scenario. Okay, so basically the story behind what's going on is these characters all are on the run from a much larger battleship that has chased them into an asteroid field, and they are trying to meet with their armada on the other side, and they just need to survive a certain amount of set turns to get there. Some of the attacks half the attacks would actually be coming from the asteroids themselves. A couple of the attacks would actually be coming from the ship, whether it be an actual onboard invasion or laser, which would be dictated by the orange and red die. And there'd be 6 numbers on the left side of the ship, 6 numbers on the right side of the ship, and depending on which numbers are rolled, they would be connected from the left side and the right side to draw a line across. And anything in that line, walls would take 1 damage, and other characters would take 1 damage. Any of the non-main characters would have 2 health, so this could be extremely devastating. The main characters only have 3, but if you hit a line of that, you're not going to be able to heal everybody in a turn or 2. So
what happens if the medics go away?
If the medics go away, you're fucked. No, yeah, the medics go away, you're fucked.
Okay. I'll ask later.
Okay.
I'd like pictures and stuff of all this stuff.
What happens if you lose all the engineers?
Then you just lose power. So you all your bonuses, like your weapons and your shield, are gone. So and those are good because those weapons and shield cards will block the deck of despair that's getting flipped and coming at you. So then you just take on more and more damage every turn, which is devastating. If the captain dies, it's actually not that big of a deal. But it's a huge morale hit. The mechanic is probably the most vital role, but if the main character himself dies, it really sucks because he would have the most health to do, if he had to do repair in the core where you lose health at the end of the turn by being in the core, or if you're in a place that's constantly under attack and you can't really clear it out and you need someone to get in there to fix a wall, you kind of want that extra health. I don't know what else to do on this page.
What happens if your power core gets hit, or power center?
The power center is the most centered, and it is the core is the most centered and is the most protected by walls, because if that dies out, you lose the game. And to repair those, you lose a health by being in that room. If you lose a wall and that core is exposed to a bigger room, then if you're in that bigger room or in the core, you lose a health. So you want to keep that well protected. In this feature, the walls that outline the ship and also that are internal. Alright, in this feature, these walls will be displayed using cardboard paper, but I envision these being rectangular blocks of wood or plastic with multi-different colors that you just rotate and eventually remove as needed. As soon as damage gets done to a room, all the walls connected to that room will go down 1 color or 1 health, or if a laser goes across, then same will happen, and you'll start to rotate it to its other colors until it eventually gets destroyed. Once destroyed, any items and any characters inside will be lost to outer space. And meanwhile, anybody still within the ship could try to repair any other damaged walls that may be threatening more life, in hopes of saving the rest of the crew. Characters and items are all designed on character sheets separate that would be kept in front of the players that would control them. Inventory system looks like something out of the original Resident Evil. and is also on a similar type of grid, just a much smaller one. This are the character sheets. The character sheets will have a short bio on the characters, a list of skills, their base moveset, which is still being worked out right now, their class, name, just a picture. The inventory grid is actually a little grid that items are drawn on, and they will fit nicely on there to simulate their carrying capacity. The health is the only other thing that is removable on there, so when you take damage it just goes away until you're dead. And also these little squares may be coming in handy when you drop items, and to use it to signify this is where it was dropped in case it gets sucked out in outer space, or if another character needs to pick it up. It'd be really helpful for medics to get items down from the med bay all the way down to, let's say, like this shield room where mechanics are dying trying to keep it fixed. So, useful techniques. Right now the only two items we have drawn up are the med packs that obviously heal one, and an adrenaline shot that gets you another movement die. So